Hi, I'm Jeff with 1Byte Technology. Today I'm changing the battery in a 2015 13-inch MacBook Pro. These batteries are the type that are adhered to the frame. They're glued down essentially. It's a little bit challenging, but I've gotten it down to a bit of a science. So I will show you what I do. I got this from a fabric store, but I'm sure any craft store or similar would have it, but this stuff is called tiger tail wire. I have no idea what it's actually for, but it is a enamel coated, looks like stainless steel wire. So occasionally it does snap when I'm doing this, but it's lasted me quite a while. I tie a loop in the end of it. You can see that, barely. And I put a screwdriver through it, just for leverage. Right, so that's not a good screwdriver. So I use this for leverage, and I have to get this wire underneath the cells of the battery, and you just maneuver it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Some people like to use these to get under there, but I found sometimes you can puncture the cell doing something like that. So this wire method has definitely worked the best for me. We have to disconnect the trackpad cable because it's in the way, and of course disconnect the battery. Now that's always concerning when there's rice inside a unit. I hate seeing that. Rice is a myth. If you ever liquid damage an electronic device, don't bother with rice. Anybody that swears by rice because they put their device in rice and left it overnight and it magically started working the next day, it wasn't the rice. It was simply time that fixed it. And you know, to be honest, inside that device there's going to be corrosion that's happening. Once again, rice is a myth. It doesn't do a darn thing. I don't see any tripped liquid indicators in this, but yeah, there is rice all over the place. So I will make sure to inquire with the customer afterwards. I wonder if this is why we're changing the battery. More rice. I almost have enough for lunch. Okay, so the battery's disconnected. I'm removing the little protective plate over top of the trackpad cable here. And then I'll get that trackpad cable out of the way. It pops up. You have to peel it off this middle cell very carefully. You don't want to tear it. And then disconnect it from the trackpad itself. And it's glued down at a weird angle, so you just have to get a good grip on it and just carefully wiggle it loose. There. Get that for later. All right. So now we're ready to get to it. Doesn't really matter which cell you start from. I usually go left to right. So if you can see that, I'm just getting this wire underneath the edges of the battery. Make sure it's truly under the edges because we don't want to cut into the cell. I just use my screwdriver that's already attached here to poke it under there. Alright, so it's under. You don't want too much slack. You can kind of see that, how much I've got there. Probably a little less, and then just start pulling it back and forth. Not at too much of an angle or your wire will snap, but just enough so that there's tension on the glue and it'll cut through the glue. And just like that, first one's done. Second one. We can do the other side. Right now, there's a couple screws holding down this battery. One by the connector over here. That's got to come out. Oh, and that is the only one. The rest of this is just glued down. There. So that's loose, and now I have access to these middle two cells. A little piece of plastic under these middle cells that stops the wire from going underneath. I'm just going to cut it. Do not puncture the cell of the battery if you do this. Alright, so now my wire slipped easily under this piece of plastic. There's a black piece of plastic that goes across these two cells. And if you just cut a slit in the middle, it'll give your wire access. So, that's the battery. It's out. That one was really easy. They're not always that easy. This one, luckily, because we're on camera, went really, really smoothly. Probably don't have to scrape up this old glue, but I just like to make it clean. Okay, so it's ready to install the battery. This is a customer provided battery. She bought it from iFixit. If you've never been to iFixit, I'd be surprised. It's where I learned a lot of this stuff. They've got how-to, like, beautiful walkthroughs of fixing almost anything. Battery. I don't know if you can see those behind me. Only carry OEM Apple batteries when I can get them, which is for pretty much every model. The iFixit batteries are good, just expensive. When I was buying Amazon batteries, about 30% of them ended up being duds, so I stopped that. And after I found my supplier for original Apple batteries, and I will never use anything else if it's possible. Okay, just make sure everything's lined up, plugged in, sitting well, and now I'm just gonna press it down, apply pressure with the glue on the new battery to stick. I'll put it back together. So it's not too bad of a job if you have the right tools. Took me a while before I found that wire that worked well, and the method for it, but as you can see, I did that pretty quickly, so it's definitely my tested, tried and true method. Thanks for watching. If you need batteries done, give me a shout. I also do iPad screens, iPhone screens, and of course anything and everything to do with MacBooks, including liquid damage and logic board repair. Thanks a lot.